Hey, I'm Nicholas, and this is my video presentation of line charges. So the purpose of this lab is making a line charge model, and in lab 1, we conducted a point charge model with the U-tapes. Now let's examine the differences between the two models. This will allow us to see a more accurate representation of the charges existing between the two tapes. This is a preview of the findings. The magnitude of the electrical force was 1.93 to the negative third. The magnitude of the gravitational force was 1.98 to the negative third. The lab procedures are exactly the same as in lab 1, and this is a refresher of the data that we collected also in lab 1. The length of the tape, mass, width, and then the distance between the separation of the tapes, which is found in figure 5 on the bottom right. Fundamental concepts, physics concepts. We're using all the same physics concepts that we did in lab 1, and additionally, we will be using the electrical formula for electrical field of a rod found in the top right. And to find my new Q charge value, I using the formula on the top right, I found the calculation right here on the right. And then for my code, I set Q equal to 9.411, which is the new charge I found. And then the bottom right is the code on basically what the formula, the code way of the formula. And the code on the bottom right, on the bottom is explained. This is where we can calculate the line charge of the tapes. First, we split the tapes into multiple point charges. Then we calculate each electrical field of the point charges at the top of the tape due to the bottom of the tape. Finally, we sum all electrical fields into a net electrical field. This is basically what the code is doing. And this is the code output. So we can see all electrical fields for the point charge in the top tape due to the bottom tape. Those are all the green arrows pointing up. And then we can also note that I set my n to 100, but the higher the n is, the more accurate the net electrical fields will be. And the results, as discussed earlier, the magnitude of the electrical force was 1.935 to the negative third, and the magnitude of the gravitational force was 1.98 to the negative third. So assumptions, approximations, and idealizations that we need to take into account is only the last one, which is assume that each U-tape you made had the same amount of charge evenly distributed along the length of the tape. And then after lab discussions, in lab 1, the charge that I calculated for the point charge model was 2.16 to the negative 9. And then in lab 2, we saw that the charge for our distributed line model was 9.411 to the negative 9. There is a difference between the two models because the point charge model only takes into account the point charges acting upon a singular point charge, while in the line model, it takes into account each distributed point charges and one tape acting upon every distributed point charge in the other tape, hence the bigger number. And this is also implied that the line charge distributed model is also closer to a real life value. And this concludes my video presentation for Lab 2.